What is good, everyone, and welcome back to the Mayo Media Network. My name's Griffin Swanson, and I'm here to break down the Monday Night Football slate between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Got a couple of prize picks that I want to talk with you guys, as well as break down my spreadsheet for the DraftKings Showdown. But before we do that, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. The Mayo Media Network has football content coming out Monday through Sunday, all season long. You don't want to miss out on any of that. And for you podcast people, head on over to the Apple Pods. You can find the content there. Leave a 5-star review while you're at it. But all right, folks, enough with the intro already. We like it short and sweet. Let's dive into PrizePicks here. All right, so I'm on the PrizePicks.com website here now. First and foremost, if you have not signed up yet for PrizePicks and you want to do so, make sure you use code MMN upon sign up for up to a $100 match deposit. Now, again, you don't have to put $100 in. You want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match that as well. Whatever you prefer to put in, they'll match that up to $100, and it's really free money. As soon as you put your deposit in, PrizePicks matches that right away. You don't have to play any contests like some of these other sites make you do to earn that money back. No. As soon as you put your deposit in, PrizePicks sends that to you right away, and you're really playing with house money right off the bat. So again, just make sure you use code MMN upon sign up for up to a $100 match deposit. Now, I do got two picks that I like here for this Monday night slate. The first one is going to be a rushing prop, and we're going to go with the Green Bay Packers running back. Probably not the one that you're thinking, actually, though. We're going to go with A.J. Dillon here, over 17.5 rushing yards. I can't believe it's this low. Look, I know he's not the starter, and he might only touch the ball anywhere from 5 to 9 times in this game, but I think that's enough to get over 17.5 rushing yards against a pretty weak defense here in the Detroit Lions. I'm looking at two different sites here in the projections for Monday night. One site has A.J. Dillon at 38.6 rushing yards, and the other one here has him at 36.65. Both double of what he is here on PrizePicks. So I'm going to take the over on that. Again, I know he's not the starter, but I look back at Jamal Williams from last year, took a look at some of his stats as well. He hit the over as the backup running back for the Packers in 12 of 18 games. So that was really encouraging as well. Now look, I know he's not Jamal Williams either, but playing as the number 2 running back here for the Green Bay Packers should lead him to enough opportunity to hit the over here, especially if the Packers are playing with a lead, which I suspect they will be. He'll probably touch the ball even a little bit more in the second half and in the fourth quarter. And then the other prize pick that I like here is going to be a receiving prop, so let's head on over to that. Scroll all the way to the bottom here. I'm going to take the top receiver out of Green Bay, Davante Adams, and take the over there at 85.5 receiving yards. Now look, I know that's a big number, and if he does hit the over, he's likely having himself a pretty damn good game. But is it really that crazy to think that he does hit the over there against a really bad Detroit Lions defense? We saw Deebo Samuel absolutely shred that defense last weekend. I think Davante Adams is going to do the same. You know, there's a little intuition on this one as well, because we all know that the Packers got throttled last week by the New Orleans Saints. They didn't even look like a legitimate football team, not a team that went 13-3 last year, to say the least. So I'm going to take the over on this, not because he's projected for 115 yards, but more so because this is one of the best wide receivers in the game, playing against one of the worst defenses, and the Green Bay Packers are going to come out guns a-blazing, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if he sees 10 to 15 targets in this game. At the very least, I think he sees 10, with the upside of seeing 50. So I'm going to take the over there, even though it is a big number. I think Davante Adams absolutely smashes the Lions on Monday night. So to recap here, I got two different picks. A.J. Dillon over 17.5 rushing yards, Davante Adams over 85.5 receiving yards, and we can approach this two different ways, the flex play or the power play. If you go the power play route, you will need both picks to hit, but it does increase the payout. Again, if you're going to be signing up for PrizePicks, make sure you use code MMN for up to a $100 match deposit. But all right, folks, let's dive into this spreadsheet here next. Now, as always, with these spreadsheets, first thing I want to mention, I'll list out those Vegas odds here in the top left-hand corner. You can see Green Bay is a heavy home favorite at minus 675. Detroit Lions there at plus 475. And an over-under there, 49 points as well. So definitely looks like there's a little bit of shootout potential in this game. So far, the Thursday night game and Monday night games have been absolutely great. Let's hope that this one is the exact same way. Like I said, I do think the Green Bay Packers have a bit of a chip on their shoulder here, and and come out and throttle the Detroit Lions. I think the money line is speaking for that as well. And then listing out those stats from 2020 when it comes to showdowns as well. 6 quick stats that I want to touch on to help you build your lineup. So let me move my fat head out of the way here. Stat number 1, 92% of all showdown lineups rostered at least one quarterback last year, and of the top 1% lineups, 96% did that as well. Number 2, 33% of all lineups rostered a wide receiver at captain, and of the top 1% lineups, 31.4% did as well. Number 3 there, 57% of the top 1% lineups rostered a captain from the team favored to win. So the Green Bay Packers for sure in this matchup. 4, run it back, an opposing quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end was included in 88.9% of winning lineups that rostered a quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end from the other team at captain. Number 5 there, ignore defense and kickers in the captain spot. Very rarely does that work. Only 1.1% of the time last year in the top 1% of lineups. And number 6 there, don't play more than 2 kickers or defenses in the same lineup. Usually 1 is fine unless it's projected to be a really low scoring game. Then you could probably get a little more unique and put 2 of those in there. But now we're going to dive into my favorite plays here, kicking it off with the captains. For those of you who are new to this video here, or at least the spreadsheet, I like to list out a captain from both sides of this game. Now, it probably makes sense to roster someone in the captain spot from the Green Bay Packers. Again, the third statistic there, 57% of the top 1% lineups from 2020 rostered a captain from the team favored to win. Looking at the money line here, Packers are heavy favorites at minus 675. So yes, the right way to approach this is probably putting in someone from the Green Bay Packers, but I like to play a little bit of devil's advocate and mention someone from both sides. Now, the first captain that we have there is going to be Davante Adams. Flat out best play on this slate here. The best player as well, probably has the safest floor and the highest ceiling. In fact, it's probably not even up for debate at this point. Probably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Again, that's my opinion, and we're not going to get into that conversation, but he's certainly the best wide receiver in this game here. I wouldn't be shocked if he sees 10 plus targets in this game. I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come out and target him right away, early and often. He has the upside to score multiple touchdowns as well. We saw it last year several times. He'd go for 2-3 touchdowns. He's got a 30-point, 40-point ceiling as well, and so that's really intriguing to me. He is the most expensive player on this slate, but that really doesn't concern me. I'm going to try and get him in as many lineups as possible and fit him in the captain spot as well. Yeah, I mentioned it during the PrizePicks too. Deebo Samuel absolutely shredded that Detroit Lions secondary last week. Davante Adams is far more talented than Deebo, and he has a much better quarterback throwing him the ball as well. Now, if you do want to get a little creative with your lineups and put someone in from the Lions side in the captain spot, DeAndre Swift is the guy for me. You know, his usage is going to be a little bit different than the typical running back. We kind of saw that last week with the Lions playing from behind on the 49ers, but this guy saw 11 targets in the passing game, had 8 receptions and 24.4 DraftKings points. I'm not suggesting he's going to get another double-digit target night here, but really good to see that Jared Goff is not afraid to dump it down to his running backs. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but you can see here, Jamal Williams, the backup running back to Detroit, had 9 targets himself. Between the two, they combined for 20 targets in that game, and Tyrell Williams, technically the number 1 wide receiver in that offense, is already listed as out with a concussion, so I think these guys are going to get involved in the passing game right away again, especially considering I do suspect that the Green Bay Packers are going to be playing with a lead. So, like I said, it's probably not ideal to put someone in from the Lions side in your captain spot. They certainly don't have the same type of ceiling as someone like Davante Adams, but if you do want to get a little contrarian, DeAndre Swift is the guy for me, just considering the usage that he has in the passing game with Jared Goff. Now, moving on down here to the flex plays. First guy I got there is Aaron Rodgers. If you're going to be playing a lot of Davante Adams in the captain spot or even in the flex spot, it makes sense to pair him up with Aaron Rodgers. A lot of correlation there, obviously. And I mentioned it earlier, I'm expecting no mercy from this Packers team against the Detroit Lions, considering they got absolutely throttled last week by the New Orleans Saints. Aaron Rodgers didn't look like the guy who won MVP last season, but the talent is obviously there, the experience is obviously there, and this is a guy who's notoriously played well against the Lions over the course of his career. He averages 257 passing yards per game and 2 touchdowns per game against the Lions. I by all means think he gets there once again on Monday night. Wouldn't be shocked if he goes over 300 passing yards and has 3+ touchdowns as well. And hell, Davante Adams could end up catching all of those. But I like the correlation between the two. I think if you are going to be playing one guy, whether it be Aaron Rodgers or Davante Adams in the captain spot, you should probably pair them up with the other guy. So just play those two together, to say the least. Now, directly below that, I got Aaron Jones, another stud player in this Packers offense. Yeah, I want to start with this. I've done some dummy and mock lineups here for Monday night already, trying to put Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Davante Adams in the same lineup. It doesn't matter who you put in the captain spot. It is tough to do because you're really not left with a whole lot of money left over. Is it doable? Yes, by all means. You can make it work, but just know you're not going to have a lot of salary left for the rest of your lineup. So just wanted to start with that because obviously those are really the top three players in this game here for Monday night. But by all means, I think they're all viable, and realistically, you could put any one of those three in the captain spot. Like I said, Davante Adams just has the safest floor and the highest ceiling. So even though he is priced as the highest player on this slate, I definitely don't mind going to him. Now, Aaron Jones here shouldn't have any issue against this Lions defense either. We saw the 49ers running backs absolutely tear them apart as well, and those were the backup running backs for the 49ers. Raheem Mostert got injured right away in the game. Trey Sermon didn't even suit up, and so this was a third and fourth string running backs that were kind of tearing them apart. You can see the numbers there. 49ers running backs had 127 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 23 attempts. That's it. So I know that A.J. Dillon is going to get involved in this game. Like I said, I really like him as a prize pick here, but Aaron Jones should have no issue beating this Lions defense either. We saw him absolutely shred them back in week 3 last season, and this Lions defense didn't get any better. They probably got worse during the offseason. So like I said, I like Aaron Jones, I like Aaron Rodgers, I like Davante Adams. Realistically, any one of those three could be put in the captain spot. It is going to be tough to play all three together, but it's certainly doable there as well. Next, we got TJ Hawkinson there, the tight end for the Detroit Lions, looking to be Jared Goff's favorite target right out the gate. Came out last week, had 11 targets, 8 receptions, scored a touchdown. I believe he had 90-something receiving yards and finished with 25.7 DraftKings points. So he's going to get peppered with targets once again in this game. Like I said earlier, Tyrell Williams is listed as out with a concussion, and the wide receivers are pretty grim here for the Detroit Lions, essentially making Hawkinson the number 1 pass catcher. I expect Goff to lean on him quite a bit in this game as well. If you wanted to go with someone outside of DeAndre Swift in the captain spot, I think TJ Hawkinson would make sense. Like I said, it probably just makes sense to go with a Packers player in the captain spot, but TJ Hawkinson looked really good last week, and Jared Goff is not going to be afraid to lean on him. Certainly don't mind him at this price tag here, a $9,600. Now, the next pick here, Jamal Williams. Do we have a little revenge game narrative brewing up there? I'm not entirely sure. This guy seems like the most happy-go-lucky dude on this earth. You listen to him during interviews, and he's just hysterical. Seems happy 24/7, so I don't know if he's the type of guy that wants to get revenge on anybody. But if he were to, this would be the game. The Green Bay Packers, who just let him go after several years, Detroit Lions pick him up. And outside of the revenge game narrative, the game script might make sense here for Jamal Williams, just like DeAndre Swift. You know, these guys were trailing severely last week to the 49ers. They come out in the second half, just throw the ball basically the rest of the game, and it kind of worked out for him. We saw him playing catch up, and I thought, man, there might be a chance here where they tie this game up. Ultimately, they didn't, but Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift both got heavily involved in the passing game. You know, I talked about it earlier. We saw Jamal Williams get 9 targets in that game, had 8 receptions, and finished with 25 DraftKings points, slightly more than DeAndre Swift. Now, I by all means still prefer DeAndre Swift. He's far more talented, but don't mind Jamal Williams here at $7,200. So whether or not you want to go with the revenge game narrative or just the projected game script where the Lions are playing from behind, I think Jamal Williams does make sense in this matchup here, especially considering how involved he was in the passing game last week against the 49ers. The next 3 guys that I got here then are all Green Bay Packers pass catchers. We got Robert Tonyan, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I'm going to call him MVS throughout this, and Allen Lazard. Started off there with Robert Tonyan, the tight end for the Packers. Not a guy I expect to get a lot of volume in this game. I think 5 to 7 targets is probably his ceiling, and he should see anywhere from 3 to 5 if I had to guess, but I love the touchdown upside that he has. He's a guy who scored 11 touchdowns last year, and Rodgers definitely looks for him once they get into the red zone and towards the goal line. Again, I expect Davante Adams to eat up a lot of the target share this week and a lot of red zone looks, But Robert Tonyan's probably the number 2 pass catcher once they get down into the red zone. So it really comes down to the touchdown upside for me. He had a touchdown in each of the games last year against the Lions as well. And again, this is a secondary and a defense that really doesn't scare me. So Robert Tonyan's definitely going to be a consideration, especially at a pretty cheap price tag there, $6,400. Then we got MVS and Allen Lazard here. Honestly, they're probably interchangeable. Technically, MVS here is listed as a number 2 wide receiver on the depth chart. However, Lazard did play more snaps last week than MVS. It was a slight difference, but he saw 68.4% of the snap count. So definitely getting significant enough time to play him at that price tag there of $4,800. The thing with MVS is the ceiling's a little bit greater in my opinion, because this is a guy who could realistically score a touchdown from 40, 50 yards out. He's going to see a few deep balls in this game, whereas Allen Lazard plays a little bit more with those intermediate routes. Yes, he can have a 20, 25 plus point game as well, but it's not going to happen all that often. And it's not going to happen all that often with MVS either. You're kind of just banking on a long touchdown pass, and he very well could do that. It was encouraging, though, to see him get 8 targets last week, albeit the Packers were basically playing from behind the entire game. That was encouraging. So I like both of these guys here as kind of a number 2, 3 pass catcher in that offense. If you're looking for the touchdown upside, Robert Tonyan does make sense. But if you're playing Aaron Rodgers in general, it makes sense to stack him up with a couple of his pass catchers, maybe even 3 of them. And then the last 2 guys that I got here, 2 wide receivers for the Detroit Lions. If you are going to be paying up for guys like Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers in the same lineup, you're going to have to pivot down and pay for low-price guys like this to fill out the rest of your lineup. First one we got there is Khalif Raymond. He should be the number 1 wide receiver in this offense, considering that Tyrell Williams is now out with a concussion. By all means, TJ Hawkinson's still the number 1 pass catcher, but in regards to wide receivers, Khalif Raymond led all wide receivers for the Lions last week with a 75% snap count. He had 4 targets in that game and 50 receiving yards. By no means a great game, but at least he's out there on the field and running a lot of routes. And so at $4,400, I don't mind that. St. Brown here is a lot more intriguing to me considering the price savings that you do get. You save $2,000 by going from Raymond to St. Brown here. And St. Brown played the 2nd most snaps of any Lions wide receiver last week in his rookie debut. So that's really encouraging. And actually, Goff just missed him in the first quarter for a long touchdown pass as well. Had he been able to hit him in the numbers, St. Brown was gone for a TD. So had he scored that, he'd probably be priced closer to the 4K range, but I'm going to take him at the discount here at $2,400. It is kind of hard to judge this Lions offense outside of TJ Hawkinson, Jamal Williams, and DeAndre Swift. I think those 3 are locked into their positions, but the wide receiver group is a little bit messy. We got Quintez Cephas there as well. Between him, Raymond, and St. Brown, they're all projecting very similarly, but I do prefer Raymond and St. Brown myself. St. Brown is probably my number 1 target considering the price that you get there and the deep look that he got last week. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up the video here for today. As always, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. I really do appreciate that. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. I mentioned it earlier, but Pat and his team at the Mayo Media Network have content coming out all week long, Monday through Sunday for the NFL season, amongst many other sports as well, so you don't want to miss out on any of that. And again, for those of you who do want to sign up for PrizePicks, make sure you use code MMN upon sign up for up to a $100 match deposit. Let's have a great day here, folks. Hopefully you were able to win some money on Sunday, and let's keep that rolling into Monday as well. I'm out of here.